Call this meeting of the Porter Town Council to order. Please rise and follow in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fran, would you call the roll, please?
Kelly Kierman.
Here.
Bill Lopez.
Here.
Jim Burge.
Here.
John Kraft.
Here.
Laura Madigan.
Here.
We're all here. We have a quorum. We'll move on to approval of the minutes of the March 24th regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions regarding the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we move on to I look for a motion to approve the minutes of the April 3rd executive session.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? The motion is second, thank you, Don. Is there any questions regarding the minutes as presented? Hearing none. All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Move on to consideration of claims and sewer adjustments. I look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Sorry, that was Jim's. I'll second though.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll make second.
Are there any questions regarding the claims and sewer adjustments? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So ordered. Move on. Petitions and comments from the floor. If there's anybody here who'd like to bring something forth to the council, please step up to the lectern, state your name and address for the record, and tell us what's on your mind. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to reports. Clerk Treasurer, Corinne?
Yep. Okay, so first I'd like to remind residents that they can sign up for Savvy Citizen, our new notification system. You can go to savvycitizenapp.com or download the app to your smartphone. Second, I received a request from the Environmental Sustainability Commission Chair in regards to setting up a fund or a donation fund for ESC projects. So I told her I would run it past the council. If you guys want to discuss it and entertain setting up that fund, I can work with the attorney to do that, but it would definitely need an ordinance for council approval to do that, so.
Well, I think that'd be good, at least, because there's a lot of people that want to donate to projects they do, and that way
I assume so,
create a fund
yes,
for them,
yeah.
so.
That board, though, I know we still need to amend the ordinance to make up the membership, but they don't have any spending authority, so the council would still need to approve those claims, but obviously they'd be paid from that fund, which would also need to be appropriated, so set it up, get donations, go through the additional appropriation process for them, if you'd like to proceed.
I would be in favor of it.
I'm in favor.
Yeah,
I have no problem.
with it. If they think that people want to donate to that, then yeah.
So do we need a motion and, to approve it, or just
I
by
can work on the
by
ordinance and
consensus, we'll
then,
just, okay, move forward with setting up an ordinance?
yeah.
Okay, I think the consensus is,
Could we also maybe consider, since we do need to amend the ordinance establishing the ESC, that we consider the possibility of giving them spending authority, say for example, over their donation fund only? I know that RDC has set aside some money in their spending plan annually that ESC has access to should they need it. I'm not sure that I want to say that they should have spending authority over those funds, since those are taxpayer funds. But if they're donations, I don't see the need, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but just part of the conversation, since we're amending the other ordinance too, just make that consideration.
no, I think that'd be, I think
Yeah,
that would
over
make
the
sense.
donations.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appropriation funds, yeah.
and then I think also too, while we're amending the ESC, we amend the, what we talked about before with the student appointees to, that their terms run for the school year opposed to the calendar year.
Yeah.
So we do all that at the same time.
Yeah, okay. I will get in touch with Attorney Willoughby on that.
Okay.
Third thing I have tonight is the Westchester Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund MOU. I sent you all an email about that, so last fall it was before the council for consideration. This is a result of a new law, I believe, that was established last year. But we chose not to agree to the MOU and asked Westchester Township to reconsider how they are divvying up those funds, and they will not. So we either sign this and get the distribution of $905, or we don't get it. So it's
At least
it's
we
up to you.
asked.
So
We
yeah.
tried. So I look for a motion to approve the MOU and accept it, sign it.
I'll make that motion begrudgingly.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions regarding the MOU with Westchester Township? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One last thing. I was going to see if we could put the Westchester Township fire contract on the agenda. If I could make a motion to add that to the agenda at this time? So that we can get that signed?
Yeah, I sent that to you all in the same email.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like me to bring it up under my reports?
I think either way, whatever the council wishes.
I
Either
was just
way.
gonna make a motion so that we could talk about it now.
Yeah,
If you wanna wait
it
till
came
before.
very late on Friday afternoon, so it did not get added to the agenda. But since this is a 2026 contract that's effective January 1st, and that's already mid-April, you know.
All right, so Kelly has a motion on the floor to add the Westchester Volunteer Fire Department contract, or the contract with the Porter Volunteer Fire Department to the agenda for discussion at this time.
Yeah, I'll second that.
We have a second. Any questions regarding that motion? All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so next thing on the agenda now is
Yep, I would just look for approval of the Westchester Township fire contract.
okay, do I have a motion to approve the Westchester fire contract with the Porter Volunteer Fire Department?
Yes. Sorry.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, and I'll follow up with the same questions I always ask. Jay, does everything look good to you, and has our attorney vetted it, and we're ready to go?
Yes, they made all of the changes that were requested by our attorney. Everything else in there has been in there for years. They just added all of his new verbiage with certain things and Corinne's request with the liability insurance change like we did with Dune Acres. So everything looked good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Okay, one final thing, just a report on beach permit sales. They are all sold out. Out of the 775 permits that we sold, 599 or 77% went to Porter residents, 37 went to employees, 319 of the 599 went to Porter residents, the other 280 went to senior Porter residents. There were 135 sold to other Indiana residents and 4 out of state. So that 4 out of state is less than 1% of total sales. 10% of the permits were delivered by certified mail. The other 90 were picked up in the office. So not a whole lot of certified mail this year, but that's good because the price went up. And that's all I have this evening.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? How was that for your office, distributing 90% of them in person?
It was a little chaotic between, 4 and 4:30 most days when people got off work, but, I mean, it was fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it, Corinne.
Yep, that's
Thank
it.
you. Attorney?
Hi, Jack Walton here, filling in for Chris Willoughby tonight. There's no attorney report.
No attorney. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to the police department. Chief Dickey.
Yes, sir, I've got several things. One is gonna be a stats report for the month of March. We ran 741 total calls for service. Quick breakdown, 43 case reports, 10 felony charges, 25 misdemeanor charges, 22 arrests. We had 220 traffic stops. 4 vehicle pursuits, 2 of which were notable that I'd like to mention here. One was Officer Matt Reynolds, who safely stopped and apprehended a suspect who was part of a large vehicle theft ring between Indiana and Illinois. So kudos to him. And Sergeant Austin Haynes, a couple days ago, received word of a homicide that occurred over in Gary, received word that the vehicle was entering town limits. He also safely ended and apprehended the suspect, who is now in custody. Carrying on with the statistics, as far as the traffic stops, 187 warnings in total, 29 written citations or fines, 9 of which were OWIs. That is it for stats. Got a permit application request for State Park Little League. This is their parade, their kickoff every year. Starts at LA Bell and walks down to the State Park Little League. So I'm requesting permission to move forward with that and have that approved.
Make that motion.
And they have their insurance and everything's in order and,
I've got everything, yep.
okay. Look for a motion to approve the permit application for the State Park Little League.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion second. Any questions for the chief regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're good to go.
Thank you.
What is the date on that?
4/25. Also, I would like to request the council's permission to apply for what's called a CHIRP grant, which is the Comprehensive Highway Injury Reduction Program. We've done these in the past. Generally, they were, how do I put this? Although the paperwork was done through the Hebron Police Department, a lot of departments, well, I should say the Hebron, the town of Hebron kind of washed their hands of it, and it was a lot of work for them. So it looks like it's going essentially to each individual department. This is something that we've participated throughout the years. It was not available last year because of Hebron disbanding it essentially. This is due on the 25th, also, April 25th, I believe. And I do apologize for just now bringing this up. This came out after the packet information was sent out. It is something that directly benefits the town and its residents, having officers out doing safety patrols for traffic safety, seat belts, stop arm violations on school buses and what have you. So I would seek the council's approval to submit for that grant.
So how does I have a couple questions, just real quick. So the grant works where, is it a matching grant? How does the monetary part work?
Yes,
And what
so-
does that benefit the department?
Yeah, so it is an 80-20 split, but most of the new spending, most of the 20% match can be met through the existing officer time and resources rather than new spending. So, for instance, Chesterton just mentioned this last night, they have that 20% in their budget to absorb it.
And you do
we would
as
the
well,
same, yes.
based on,
Yep.
and do you know when reimbursement is?
I don't have, you got it?
Yeah, the state reimburses quarterly to the participating agencies.
Okay.
How many, I do recall that we participated in CHIRP in the past, but did we take 1 year off? Was it just how many years have we?
I wanna say it was 1 year,
It's, yeah,
1 year, right?
and that's,
There was just a breakdown in funding and community, but now we're back up and rolling, right?
Correct.
Do I understand that right? Okay. I think that's great news, thanks.
thank you. Do I have approval?
Yeah, for the funding, no, the funding just, well, we usually have a motion before we go into discussion, but, so the funding just covers the man hours, right, the cost?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And overtime cost?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so, do we have a motion
I'll make that motion to go out for the
to
grant.
apply for the grant?
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
Definitely, I'll second that, yeah.
Okay, any other questions for the chief regarding the motion? The grant, all right, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'll move on to somewhat of a snafu with the purchase of a vehicle. I'll let Deputy Chief Blythe explain that as our fleet coordinator.
So as all of you know, we were previously approved to purchase a 2026 Ford Explorer EcoBoost for this year. The amount that was previously approved for that was $46,567. Unfortunately, several weeks ago, Ford contacted local police departments, not just us, this is on a broad scale, and said, hey guys, we're sorry, we're unable to produce that vehicle as intended. Needless to say, there was a mad dash statewide by a lot of agencies to try and find existing vehicles on the lot. I did some exploration on that, and what we were looking for was not available. Graf Ford subsequently provided us with a quote for a Ford F-150 police responder vehicle. That was a vehicle that we had looked at prior to settling on the Explorer. At that time, we put out a request for other quotes from area dealerships, and we didn't receive any responses back. So Graf Ford's quote for the F-150 was $46,807. That's a $240 cost increase from what we would have paid for the Explorer. So we are just seeking to amend the prior request for the Ford Explorer, the additional funding for that, and to move forward with purchasing that F-150.
Okay.
Right, and that, we're not gonna do a trade-in either, right? Is that, like we
Correct, yeah, if the council supports that.
previously discussed, that we're gonna retain that car, it's better to keep it in the pool.
Correct.
So the question was, the Corinne too, was then financing, was it create an issue without the trade-in?
Well, doesn't create an issue just yet.
Okay.
So the Bartronics quote that was approved to go along with the Ford Explorer EcoBoost that we can no longer get will need to be redone, right? And depending on that cost, if it's right about 19,000 or the same, we're gonna be a couple $1,000s short in CCD appropriations. So the options are the easiest options are to pay it from somewhere else, such as their budget or lit, or do an additional appropriation for CCD funds. But with the purchase price of this vehicle and not accounting for the trade-in, we've got $17,050.51, give or take a few dollars, left for the upfitting that will need to be approved, I believe, at the next meeting is when we're gonna have the quote, so.
All right, so,
And based on the initial quotes that we have, and I'm sorry I don't have the comprehensive data for you tonight, we should be right on target for what we were intending to spend on the Explorer.
So may not need to use any other monies.
Correct, it's very close, I just didn't have those figures all.
No, that's okay.
unfortunately.
And I'm glad you went out for 3 quotes. So we'll see how they come back.
did you receive any, the other quotes back on the truck, or?
I did, yes, yeah, more than one quote was received back.
Okay. Yeah, so, and the reason being, you don't have the total, but we want to approve the vehicle today because it seems like there's a short supply of vehicles, so you have one available or to get on the list to get one, so.
Yes, sir.
Want to move forward with that, and the next meeting, you'll have everything together on the upfitting, we'll approve the upfitting separately.
Thank you.
And I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve $46,807 for the purchase of the F-150 from Graf Ford.
And I'll second.
All right, thank you, we have a motion and a second, any questions for?
I had one.
Sure.
On the, going from an Explorer, an SUV where everything's self-contained, there's certain things obviously you'd be able to do or not. The F-150 being a very different type of vehicle,
Absolutely.
how will that impact what you had originally designed for use with that vehicle?
In terms of our like equipment security within the vehicle, is that kind of what you're?
Equipment security or transporting someone you're arresting or,
Oh, sure.
those types of things.
Yeah, there's nothing of consequence when it comes to transporting individuals. In fact, we actually have substantially more space going with the F-150. It's the quad cab. As far as equipment storage, typically we have lock boxes or things like that in the Explorers. There's a company that is what's called a decked system that is an insert into the truck bed. It slides out, it's lockable, it's secured also by the tailgate. They're about $1,500, and that's what we would be looking to put in the F-150.
Any other questions?
I
Hearing
don't
none-
have
oh,
a question,
sorry.
but just a comment. When we come back in 2 weeks after we have the upfitting quotes all together, I just want to point out that if it ends up being more than CCD has available, I will ask about the pros and cons of trading that previous vehicle in to make those numbers line up, just so you know, so. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But today we should buy a truck.
All right, all in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
And that is all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Move on to the fire department. Chief Craig.
Only thing I have, the truck that we talked about last week, or last meeting, has, been delivered, so we have our F-150, the upfitting has been ordered. I did get additional quotes on the upfitting, all came in below the Bartronics quote also, along with the truck, so everything's ordered and moving on task, with that vehicle. And then we're just prepping for summer. Starting our rehires with the part-time staff. I met with a bunch of them today. Sounds like most of them are coming back. Just moving forward, getting ready for busy season.
He'll be here before you know it.
Well,
All right, thank you, Jay.
thank you.
Move on to Public Works Department.
I got a few things tonight. First one is next week, we're starting our spring cleanup for loose leaves along the side of the road. We've been doing a little testing here and there already, but next week, we start our official time, and we'll do that until May 1st. Your official day, if you look at the website, it'll tell you where you live, and we will always be in your area on that day unless it's raining. And again, no sticks or limbs in the leaves and not in the ditch, because the hose don't go that far. We'll do that till May 1st. Second thing I have is I'd like to ask the council to do one of our employees left to go to the military and it didn't work out. He got a medical discharge and wants to come back. He'd like to bridge his time. He was here right at 2 years. So if the council graciously agrees to bridge that, that would just move his anniversary date about 46 days forward. So, until he got his vacation and time for next year and stuff. And mainly that's what it's for, vacation time and, seniority and, time at Porter. And he's been a very good employee, and I think, of all the times we have an opportunity to do this, this would be a pretty good one.
Being that, I can agree with you, being that he left to go to the military and that just didn't work out as he wanted, and I come back, you say he's a good employee, I'd ask the council to approve him being rehired and retaining his seniority position time-wise.
How long ago was his last day of work for us?
He
It was
worked a
very
couple
recent,
days
right?
past, 46 days.
Oh, that's what you said, 46 days.
So, and
Hasn't
I
even
guess
been
when
2
they
months.
pay you, they keep you for your full month that they paid you for.
I see.
Otherwise, he would have
Yeah.
been home sooner. But, he's back,
I'm good pretending that was just some unpaid vacation. Thanks.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve bridging the employment for the Public Works Public Works employee that recently left and is being rehired. Thanks.
I'll second that motion.
A motion, a second. Any other questions for Amy or? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much. The last thing I have is we got a problem at the Bailey Lift Station. The motors there are over 20 years old. They've both been rebuilt several times. We had one blow up on us. We've taken it in and they said there's no way to salvage it. Now the problem is the replacement's gonna be over 10 grand. And the idea was in the near future to change those pumps out to chopper pumps, because once we put those in, we don't have to pull pumps anymore because, well, we haven't yet with a chopper pump. And 6 years ago, the cost to do both pumps and the board that controls them was $34,000, so we need to send it out for quotes. Mike has graciously offered to do that for us. Like I said, 6 years ago, it was $34,000. And for us to invest over 10,000 just to put the old pump in, the board there is on its last leg anyway. So this really, I believe, would be wasting money to put a $10,000 pump in and then in the near future change them out for chopper pumps. So I think it'd be best if we could send it out for quotes now, and just do the chopper pumps and the new board.
Can I tag on to that? So we did Wood Lake Springs in 2019 and replaced pumps we were pulling all the time, and they're always plugged up. We haven't had, this isn't really wood, we haven't had any issues with it since. And we had planned to do at least 4 more lift stations. We got quotes for 3, and then I really cannot remember why we stopped working on it. But we had put that in the last rate study we did with Baker Tilly, and we're just gonna slide these over and re-quote them. But it saves their guys so much time, maintenance-wise, pulling pumps, all the things that really aren't any fun and quite frankly are a little dangerous to do. When we did Wood Lake Springs, we had to replace all of the boards, control panel system, everything in there. We replaced all that. And I talked to Gas Voda today, and he's gonna check on, Larry's gonna gather some more information on what's there. So he's gonna come out here probably Friday and look at it, the guy from Gas Voda. That gives me a little bit of information on what the quote package should say. Probably be similar to what we did in 19, I still have that stuff. But it's something we should be doing, and I talked to Bill about it before, but we should be doing at least one of these every year. And making sure that we replaced all of our equipment so that we don't have these breakdowns. And then if it rains, right now, you know, we're getting rain, they're down a pump there. So that means overtime, vac truck, God forbid the other pump goes out.
Right.
So I'm gonna hop on it real quick, but we can get quotes back pretty fast and figure
It's
it out.
somewhat of an emergency,
It-
only
it
because
is,
if we
yeah.
get heavy rain
Yeah.
with one pump going, we're gonna have to go out
Yeah.
there and help it. But heaven forbid the other pump goes out, and we would probably not have enough with our one vac truck where we'd have to contract
Yeah.
somebody else to come out and help us
I'm
with
gonna
it.
tie this to one of our council people, just to tell you how this all ties together. So North Bailey is fed from Main Street, First, Second, Third, that sewer stuff, all the stuff that goes to the Canoni pump. So your whole neighborhood and then everything on that side. The Dune Park, train station pumps down through there. It goes through another lift station to get to that whole neighborhood, and that whole neighborhood drains into that. So on one side of the road, you have Triangle, which is the whole west side of Waverly. The east side of Waverly, north in that area, all goes through North Bailey. So there's other things that feed that.
Right.
That is what he's talking about. If it rains really hard, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge right now, but if that other pump goes out, it's gonna really be difficult.
Costly.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's why we
And I would like-
we need to go out for quotes, so.
Thank you. I would like to also point out that I didn't realize until further into this conversation with
Yeah.
Jamie the other day
Yeah.
that each of these lift stations have 2 pumps for redundancies. That
Yes.
one goes out.
One goes out, the other one
right?
works.
And so right now, that station is working with one 20-year-old pump that's
Right.
been
Nope,
rebuilt a
correct.
bunch of
Yeah.
times and is just as close to failing as this one was. So
Yep.
so that's $10,000 to replace this one and potentially another $10,000 for the second one, just to maintain status quo without upgrading. And of course, I think that is in the town's best interest to at least get quotes for chopper pumps for the North Bailey.
And you can't
For the
mix
Bailey
and match
station.
with the
They-
boards,
yeah.
they
Right.
have to be both the
They
same.
both, yeah.
The chopper pumps are 3-phase and the rest of it, I think, single phase, so it's totally different electrical system. Can't just plug it in.
Yeah. So I would like to make a motion to allow Mike to go out for quotes for chopper pumps at the Bailey Lift Station.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions for either Jamie or Mike or anybody regarding the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
I-
Thank you very much.
Opposed? Okay.
That's all I have,
That's all you
sir.
got? You got your salt situation all in order with your salt order and that?
Yep,
was
we
all.
sent that in for the amount. I did that right away, and I think I might have even sent you guys the confirmation that it was sent, but should be coming out anytime soon now, and, We'll just have to rearrange a little money for next year's budget.
Okay, and so today, I think your crew did a nice job down at the beach, moving the sand
Sand.
off the parking lot. It looks good.
Thanks.
There's a lot more room down there now.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, move on to Park Department. Brian?
I've only got two things tonight. The first is, I can finally say, the final Town of Porter entry sign has been installed on westbound US 12 over at the Nickty station. So that project is done, and we'll be submitting that claim for approval at the next RDC meeting. So that is one project checked off the list. It looks really nice because it's been in storage for the last year. Drive by if you haven't seen it. And then the second thing I have is Rebuilding Together Duneland is taking place on Saturday, April 25th. We're going to be out at Lake Charles Park. We are project site number 14. If anybody's interested in signing up, you can do so through their website, and just make sure you select our site as who you'd like to volunteer with. And then they've got all sorts of information on there. You get a t-shirt, breakfast, lunch, drink token, and dinner at Gel Sosimo, so all that good stuff. That's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Wow.
Move on to Building Commissioner, Director of Development, Michael.
First item is we have 10 contractors for approval that paid their fees and did all the paperwork.
Look for a motion to approve the 10 contractors.
So moved.
A motion to have second. Second. Any questions regarding the contractors? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You probably have noticed the signage going up for work on 49, if you haven't seen it on Savvy Citizen. So NDOT's putting up overhead signage, and they're going to be repaving part of the 49 north of 12 up to the park. So that's what those signs are for. Our paving project is going to start either the end of last week of April, 1st of May. I'm thinking it's probably gonna be 1st of May. As soon as I get a little more firm date in the next few days, we'll post that and notify everybody about it. So that's 23rd Street, Dunes View and Oak Street, which are over off of Baileytown. So that's all the streets we're doing this year. For 23rd Street, Milestone suggested doing this, and I give them kudos for it. When they mill it, they're gonna let them mill out a few hundred feet, and they're gonna go right behind it and pave the intermediate course of paving. So we do a 4-inch mill and fill, and if you just leave it open for a while, you've got these big 4-inch humps to get in and out of driveways, and that is a pretty well-used road. There's a lot of buses on it. So I really appreciate that they're gonna do it that way. So we'll end up with intermediate course down for a couple days, and then they'll put the top course right on top of it. So it's not gonna be a big wreck for days. It's gonna be right behind it. They're gonna pave it. We had a pre-construction meeting in the pouring rain this morning out at the Minoki Prairie Trail. And our contractor's gonna get West Beam Street paved or flattened out a little bit. They might have to use some of the millings to fill in some ruts over there. So I told them that was fine. The rest of them will go to Public Works. And Jamie's crew is gonna trim some bushes along there so that the vehicles can get access in there, and we're gonna have to pay somebody to trim the trees. So appreciate that. Our IDEM audit is April 29th, and they will be at Town Hall at whatever time I told her, 10 o'clock, I think. So Megan from Butler Fairmont will be here. We'll do the IDEM audit here, and then they go to both of these facilities if she wants to. I don't think we're gonna have any issues with it. Our permit was perfect, and all of the stuff we've been doing has been really good, so we should be fine with all that. And last item is HVAC. So the HVAC contractor is gonna start shortly. So as soon as it doesn't rain for a few days, he's gonna pull the air conditioners, do those first, and then do the furnaces. So that should start shortly. Just been waiting for equipment to get in, so that's all I have.
Mike, a couple questions
Yes,
real
sir.
quick. So the 49 paving,
Yeah.
the state's doing that.
That's NDOT project.
What's their timeframe? Do they give you
I
one?
can fire the email over to you, it's in the email. Oh, there's an NDOT email, I'll send that to everybody so you can see it.
So,
It's got a time frame
do
in
they
it.
have an end date in there when it?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is off
Okay.
the top of my head, but
No
I'll
problem.
send
Yeah,
that out
just-
to everybody.
Okay, and then on our paving, will the,
Yeah.
Public Works employees be helping with the
So
inspections on that?
Victor is gonna do most of the inspections, so we're not paying Marsh to do that, and he's got the forms, and John always helps out, so, yeah, they're doing all the inspections. and-
John and Vic,
Both,
both of
okay,
them
they'll
have
both
done
be
that
doing it.
before,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be mainly Vic.
Yeah, cause
Because like
They-
you said, they're gonna, what do you call it? And then pave right behind it.
they're gonna pay right by, so typically, the the inspector is keeping track of how much they milled,
Right,
how much they put down, he gets all the tickets from the paving contractor, and Victor's got the forms for all that. He's got a lot of experience when he worked for NDOT, so is John, so both of those guys are more than capable, I'm rephrasing it, more capable than the last inspector we paid to have out here, let's put it that way.
yeah.
So, I would really rather have those guys do it, cause they really do know what they're doing, and it does save us some money, so, yes, that's what we're doing.
Sounds good, yep.
Go ahead.
If, on schedule wise with, mostly Victor, he's, might be outside of his normal hours and,
Depends on when they're working, correct?
when they're working,
Yeah.
because he'll have to be there, I
Right,
mean, until they're done, so, I mean, it might involve a little overtime, but, nowhere near what we would pay to have somebody do it, so
Right.
just wanted to put that out for you, in advance.
Thanks for the heads up.
Good point.
yep, and that's what I was getting at, that is you're coordinated with their
Yeah.
timeframe and where they're at.
Yeah, and we had a pre-construction meeting with Milestone and Matt Gavelic from Chesterton, and it's a Porter project, so, we direct everybody, if they have any issue, they just tell me and we talk to the contractors. Should go smoothly like the last ones have with them.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
That's all I got.
All right, that's it?
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions for Mike from anybody else? No? All right, we'll close reports. We have no old business to discuss. Move on to new business. First thing we have on our agenda is the Duneland Regional Dispatch Center operations. I'm gonna read a little thing I put together here. I want to start off by addressing the town of Porter moving forward with changes to the E911 and the Duneland Regional Dispatch. With changes from the county E911 Center and the implementation of the new SOP regarding how dispatch within the town of Porter and Chesterton will be handled, we have come to a decision to consolidate the 911 dispatch with the Porter County 911 Dispatch Center. This decision was made after numerous meetings with Porter Town Council officials, Porter Police Chief and Deputy Chief, Town of Chesterton Council members, the Chesterton Police Chief and Assistant Chief, along with several meetings with the county commissioners, the 911 director, and the Town of Chesterton and Town of Porter attorneys. We looked at possible options to continue running the Duneland Regional Dispatch, including moving it to a standalone PSAP. Chief Dickey, along with Council Vice President Kierman and Clerk Treasurer Peppers, researched the pros and cons and feasibility and costs involved. After lots of thoughts, in the end, it has been decided that consolidation with the County 911 Dispatch Center is our decision. I will say first and foremost, our number one priority is the safety of our residents and first responders, the Town of Porter Police and the Porter Volunteer Fire Department. Moving forward, there will be changes for all involved, including eliminating the dispatcher's position within the Town of Porter. We appreciate the jobs the dispatchers have done for the Town of Porter and your dedication to providing the best possible services to our residents and our first responders as 911 dispatchers. I ask that you continue to please do your job in the professional manner that you always have, as long as possible, while we transition to County 911. During this transition, we will have to work out some details, make some changes and adjustments to how our jobs are done. We have been assured by County Commissioner Biggs and E911 Director Debbie Gunn that they are good with the consolidation process and look forward to working with us. That said, I'd like to have a discussion regarding when we want to try to fully consolidate with the county, what everybody's thoughts are on that. I'll start off by saying, I think, in my opinion, I mean, they have some things to work out. I think, I was looking at a time window of 90 days from tomorrow's date, is what I thought, my personal opinion on it. I know with the dispatchers, they're not happy, everybody's not gonna be happy, don't like it. Your job's getting eliminated, but it's part of the process of what's happening here, and there's no two ways around it. I know some people, they're gonna find other employment, they're gonna leave sooner, and others will be inclined to stay until we reach whatever that end point is.
Can I have a personal sentiment to that?
Sure.
I'm so sorry. I can't tell you how hard we tried to, I can't tell you how many rocks Dan looked under, how many hours were spent trying to find a way. I'm sorry, right? My predecessors, Bill Lopez included, worked very hard to keep our finances from rolling out of control. They made some conservative decisions that were oftentimes unpopular, but part of it was so that we could afford to continue to maintain the quality of services that our residents and our employees all enjoy, right? And the truth is that they did that successfully, right? And we get the benefit of being able to continue those services until we just lose partners, right? And it's not something that we can do on our own, and I'm so sorry. Thank you so hard, or thank you for working so hard. I know you lost a lot of sleep over this. I know Kelly lost a lot of sleep over this. It wasn't easy for any of us, and I know that I'm not supposed to apologize for, but I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry as well. And I'd like to thank Chief Dickey, who worked diligently to investigate becoming a standalone PSAC. Also, with the national parks, to see if we could partner with them.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't partner alone.
90 days, if that's what sounds most appropriate, to our police liaison, our police chief, and the county. I have no reason to want to try to change that. That sounds fair to me.
Did the county give any input as far as how much time they would need to be able to?
They weren't sure.
They weren't sure exactly.
I think she floated October at one point, but wasn't sure.
Sure, Jennifer, well,
I recommend that everybody get on Facebook and read Kevin Nevers' report that he was put up today regarding yesterday's Chester Town Council meeting and about this issue and about some of the issues that have come up in terms of somebody said that there were a couple ambulance calls that weren't properly dispatched. And I think that everybody should read that and look into that. And I really feel bad because I've been here a long time, and that was one of the main things, was that the town reporter and Chesterton had separate dispatch. We didn't have some of the problems. I've mentioned a number of people about issues that happened in 2002 where Jerry Price went to the newspapers because they had problems with officers out on call who lost contact with dispatch and had to use their cell phones to contact the police. And I gave Chief Dickey and Chief Richardson copies of newspaper articles from them. So there have been problems before. I hope to hell that nobody loses their life because you have an officer that loses contact with dispatch, or you have something that's so screwed up that a person cannot contact law enforcement. We have a lot of stuff going through this town in terms of, you got 1220 94 going through this town. You got all this stuff with the park, and everybody says tourism, and all this stuff, and we're part of the Chicago to Detroit hub, and we got a lot, this is in Mayberry, guys, we got a lot of stuff going on, and we gotta make sure that everything is covered and taken care of, so that nobody dies. And there have been officers, and there's one case in Illinois, a number of years ago, where dispatch didn't know where the officer was, they found him, he was shot to death. He's apparently stopped the car and somebody shot him to death, and they didn't know who did it. So there are things where people need to, I think this is horrible. call. And if they wanna bully people, stop it, leave us alone, leave this town, leave this area alone. If you're doing good and doing fine and everybody's taken care of, then leave this area alone and deal with your own problems, because apparently they have problems already with not being, understaffed and different things going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I know, and all your concerns have been brought up in all these meetings we've had, Kelly and I, the chief, with the county commissioners, with the 911 director, and I'm not saying they're all resolved, but we are working to try to resolve things to make sure. And like I said, and our first and foremost, our main concern is the safety of the residents. I don't ever want a resident to pick up the phone and not be able to reach somebody. Or one of our first responders having the same problem, not being able to get someone on his radio or when they need them. So hopefully we get all that worked out during this transition process.
I think it's fairly obvious that all five of us and Chief Dickey would prefer to keep dispatch here in Porter, but it's just not the case where it's gonna be possible in the future.
If I can, I'd just like to thank you, Jennifer, for making that comment and pointing all those things out. And as the council president said, those have been brought up ad nauseum. So, thank you.
As far as a timeline, I think that we need a better understanding of where county is at. And I think that we need to do our due diligence, keeping our dispatchers informed every step of the way. I know that there was mention that there were radios that needed done, and there were 2 different dates that were given. The person running county dispatch had mentioned October, and we need to get a firm date. And then we need to meet with our dispatchers. We need to meet with dispatch and keep you updated and informed every step of the way, moving forward.
Individually, or?
If, however you guys would like, whether it's individually or together as a team. But we need to have these conversations and keep you in the loop.
Right, and I would appreciate that, and I'm sure my,
Yeah.
those I work with would.
But I need you to know that Chief Dickey worked very hard,
And
lots of sleepless nights.
I myself, I support him. He is,
Yeah.
I have defended him many times. But, this isn't just to lose their job, we're losing our livelihood.
Yes.
And I'm not the only one.
No.
Seven
No,
of us.
There's
no,
7.
we understand that, and I
And it's
totally.
easy to sit there and say, well, we're moving forward. Well, we know you're moving forward, and we know it's money. We get it. I've went through a consolidation. I've been doing this job for 25 years. It's been my life. It's not gonna, 90 days is quick. 90 days is the busy season for us with the summer. They need us, and if Chesterton's saying 6 months, they said that in their meeting last night. I mean, we've already been budgeted for the rest of the year, have we not?
Absolutely.
So why do you have to rush us out? Let us stay and be with our guys who are used to us and we're used to them, and we do a great deal of work for these towns.
I'm all in on dragging our feet as long as we possibly can, to be honest.
No later than October 1st.
Like, but that's just, I'm 1 of 5, but I'm all in on doing it, slow rolling it as long as we can.
Because you can't take it back after. it's
Exactly,
done.
you can't take it back.
Will we all have jobs there? I mean, that's everything that needs to be worked out. Would we be welcome there? Is there a position for each of us? I'm not saying everyone wants to go,
Yes.
but it's something that needs to be looked into. This isn't,
And that
you're
was
making a
discussed.
mistake or rushing something and you've made a burger roll. This is lives.
You're correct, absolutely, but you should also be aware of the fact that in their negotiations is securing an opportunity for our employees to be hired at county, should they choose to. You should also make sure that you understand that that is 100% at the top of their list, just so you
All
Yes.
know about that.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And I'm willing to
it's
come
no
talk.
slight of the chief, we understand, and, I mean, he works with all of us women, he's probably frazzled, but, it's a very emotional time right now.
It
Oh,
is.
sure.
And I would just, the consideration of not rushing it
would be appreciated. If we already have a budget, you guys have already, you know that we were gonna be here. We're here, I'm not going anywhere, I'd like to be able to stay.
We planned on dispatch for a long time. I just wanted to throw that out there, so.
Well, I mean, I'm open to table setting the end date until we have more discussions with the director from 911, and we'll keep you informed.
Yes.
And like Kelly said, anytime you want to talk to me or Kelly, or the group wants to sit down and talk, or yourself individually, we're open for that. Okay?
But I say no later, and we'll see what they can do. There was a lot to be done stuff.
Do we need a motion and
It doesn't sound to me like we're making any official action.
well, as far as to move forward with the consolidation transition process, though, as the council? I guess we'll just do it right. We'll just have a motion, and then that way it's covered. I think.
To allow chief to continue negotiations.
It's like this.
To formally, I guess.
Our decision to consolidate is based primarily on the fact that our partner already announced their decision.
Right.
And we literally cannot afford to double our dispatch expenses by keeping it all to ourselves, right? We tried to find a partner. We have no other partner, right? It's not really our decision, and I don't see the need to take official action to move forward faster than they are. Right? I guess that's how I feel about it today, which I know is not what I said when we were in our executive session, but, you know, today's a different day.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would also just state that it makes calendar sense for us to try to keep our dispatch at least through Labor Day for the summer.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right, we will make no decision. We'll just table this and look for some more information and try to move forward at the next meeting. Not move, but to have more input at the next meeting.
Thank you.
I'm open. I'm one of five up here, so.
I appreciate you.
No, it's just, that's why I said I just throw my ideas out and let everyone else. So. All right, with that, we'll close it and move on to the next thing under new business. Fire truck financing. I'm just gonna leave this to Corinne to explain a little bit.
Okay, all right. So, Jim and I had a few meetings. One was with Baker Tilly. They have put together a feasibility analysis for proposed financing or potential financing of a fire truck using a general obligation bond. I sent you all that document. So I'll just walk through it really quick. And then if you have any questions, certainly feel free to interrupt. So the first step obviously is determining our bonding capacity, which is statutorily based or calculated on our assessed value, which is about $362 million. So after calculating what we still owe on the current general obligation bond, which will be paid off in 2028, our bonding capacity is about 2.2 million. So we just kind of threw a number. So the numbers that they used here is 1.1 million. Obviously, you know, that can go up or down based on what the council decides they want to do as far as purchasing a fire truck. So they compared open market bonds to Indiana Bond Bank bonds and went through a 4-year, 7-year, or 10-year period or repayment terms. Overall, the interest rates are pretty close. Indiana Bond Bank option is going to be slightly less costly and kind of a path of least resistance in terms of actually issuing the bonds versus open market. So that would be the recommendation if we decide to go with a general obligation bond. So they also broke down each proposed schedule. Now, these aren't final numbers, obviously, because interest rates change, et cetera. Just a preliminary analysis. Again, they're both very close in terms of interest rates and repayment. But again, the cost of issuance is less and quicker with Indiana Bond Bank. They also included a comparison of our historical tax rates. Using those rates, adding the new estimated tax rates for debt service is going to keep the tax rate in a consistent and stable range. Obviously, the debt service tax rate is going to go up because we're issuing debt and we're charging that debt basically to the taxpayers on their property tax bills. Longer repayment terms, sorry, I'm just going through my notes here. The longer the repayment terms, that's going to reduce the annual tax impact on the residents, but it's going to drive the overall cost up in terms of interest for repayment. So that's something that the council needs to weigh in. Do we want to repay it faster, keep the overall cost down, or, you know, a lesser tax burden on the taxpayers? Does anybody have any questions on this analysis before I move on to the next option? Which isn't really an option, but I'll get there.
I'm ready for you to just throw it all at me and then I'll.
Okay, so the second document I sent you was a proposed tax exempt municipal lease with NCL. That would put the annual lease payments over 10 years at about $141,000. You're looking at roughly $317,000 in interest over that 10-year period. That's for a $1.1 million lease. The cost of issuance is much less with this option. However, in order to do this, we have to use existing revenues. It's not the same as issuing debt. So we would have to commit or find it somewhere in our existing revenue sources with current property taxes, which really, you know, I mean, maybe lit, but with all the changes in the lit structure that's coming down the pipeline, I don't think it's a safe option to do it that way. So issuing a bond would be the next thing. So, you know, questions to think about, like I said, do we want to, you know, stretch it out longer and make the tax burden lower, or pay it off quicker and, you know, not pay as much overall? Baker Tilly said timeline as far as getting it all said and done with the Indiana Bond Bank is a couple months. We need to decide when we want the financing, how much we need to take out to purchase the truck, and we also have to bring in bond counsel to issue the bonds. So that's where we're at.
I understand that Chief looked at a fire truck that, are you potentially choosing, or is that one option of others? Ultimately, what I want to know about is what kind of a timeline are we looking at that we need to have the financial decisions made so that we have enough time to purchase the truck and it's put in service in time, whatever that timeline is.
So what we're currently looking at is we came across a used unit that's only a year old, less than 5,000 miles on it. Been researching its history to make sure it's a quality unit, because obviously we don't want to put ourselves in a jam there. So that's through a third-party sales company. If everything continues to point in the positive direction that it has so far, it is an exceptional piece of equipment for the price. We're not gonna buy that piece of equipment for anywhere near what it's for sale now. Now, because it's a for sale unit pre-made and people are waiting 2-3+ years for a fire engine, I don't imagine it's gonna be available for a super long time. This is a very quality truck so far, what we're finding. So if we elect that we want to go that route with this truck that fits all of our needs and uses for the next 25 years, that's a direction, you know, that's kind of in a rush. if we decide that we're going to go with something new and build something, we're not gonna get anywhere near that truck for the money that's available. And, then we're not as a big a rush, because then we have time to spec it, build it, bond, or bid it, and all of that process, because they're not gonna start making it until we sign paperwork to do that. So there's really no major time limit on that. But if we want to jump on this other truck, if it continues to meet everything, still researching some of it, that's a timeline, because it's just like a car sitting on a lot, basically, that if somebody else swoops in while we're making a decision.
What is how long do you think it'll take to finish your research on it?
So
Come
if,
back with everything.
I should have good idea, by the end of this week. I have all of the paperwork I need, I just have not, we lost power at the fire station yesterday. We had an electrical issue which shut down my office. I had no computer access all day. And everything came in over the weekend, all the maintenance records, the ladder testing and all of that. So I wanna research all of that, and I have a contact that, was a military mechanic and has been working on fire trucks for 30 years. I'm gonna have him review it all and then come look at and go over the truck. I'm hoping I will have a solid answer on all of that by Friday, that we don't foresee any issues with it. I talked to the sales company, and I don't know how all this works, but if I plan on having a conversation with them on Friday to see what all they need. But if it is, I'm gonna try to buy time till at least the next council meeting. But if it is the direction we wanna go, if we are willing to, I don't wanna use the words commit to buy, but say we're in the process of this. They said that they would hold it, for us. They won't sell it out from underneath us. But still, with 2 months is a long time, that we would need to make sure that we would proceed pretty fast, or as quick as possible. I know it's a big decision to spend that kind of money, and I'm trying to rush you through that, but this is just one of those, an accidental thing that fell on our lap that, is, if all of the things align, it is a tremendous value for what we would be spending and going into the future.
Thank you. I think there's a difference between rushing into a decision and seizing an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, you were saying to build that same truck that's currently sitting there to look at, brand new, exact same specs, would probably be another $700,000 or $800,000 more.
Yeah, we're looking at well over a $2 million truck, if we build that exact truck, and 2 to 3 years or more for delivery.
Yeah.
And this would be closer to the 1.2, 1.3 million.
Yeah, right now, we're looking at 1.35. I wanna work with them and see if they'll give us a trade-in value of the engine that we would be taking out of service. But my goal with that, and discussing with you guys when it comes to that date, is that trade-in value would be used for the additional stuff that we would need on the truck, some additional equipment. Seeing what that price, it's a 26-year-old fire engine, so it may not have major value.
Right.
It may not get us very far anyway. But going that route so we have some additional funding for any equipment, even if it's just striping it and putting radios in it, but something to move towards that direction.
So for potential next steps, after you've done all the due diligence, gone through all the paperwork that the manufacturer sent and all that, have the mechanic look everything over, if it all looks good, then we'll know what the cost is, we'll know all that information. Probably sounds like the first thing we'd have to have is maybe a letter of intent to give to the company that holds that truck, so they don't sell it out from underneath us. And as long as we put something in there just to say, we're intending to do this, provided there isn't any financial road bump, speed bumps, or we don't find any mechanical issues that haven't been divulged yet. Those types of things to protect us, so we have an out if anything arises that we don't foresee right now. So maybe we could do that at the next meeting, or do you need something?
Absolutely. I think I could have my blessing to move to that step by Monday at the latest of next week, so you guys have that week to make that decision.
Okay. And that's assuming everybody's of the same mind that we want to take advantage of this opportunity. Because the alternative is, order something custom-made brand new, at least a 2-year wait time.
And we're still looking at, you know, we're talking 1.35 with this engine, we're still looking around $900,000 if we custom build something, and it's not gonna be a ladder truck. It's not gonna be that truck that carries us into the future.
Were you not planning on buying a ladder truck a number of years ago and finances got boogered up and, is that correct?
Yeah, so actually ironically.
There was. There
um,
was,
it-
right? I feel like we've been needing a ladder truck for quite a while and it's
that
been
was
postponed for
my
a
intention
decade.
when, in 2018, when we started the process with our last engine
That's
that we
what it was.
purchased. And the engine that we were, the ladder truck that I was proposing then is this truck. It's just, was a 2018 version versus the 2024 version. So
Okay.
that ironically is that same manufacturer, same style, same size ladder. It's that truck, just the new version now.
And the ladder that's on there, you'd indicated would allow you to be able to get to any existing building in the town of Porter right now, and then also allow us to, anything within our code, if something newer to be built,
So
for the most part.
yes and no. I'll add that clarifier, and a lot of that comes with our setbacks. So if we can't get the truck close, we can't get the ladder. I mean, 100 foot only goes so 100, you know,
Right.
and that includes your angle that you're working with. But it gives us everything pre-existing. This isn't a request for, we might build an apartment complex, the old water park. This is, we have a pre-existing Orchard Apartments. We have all of the condos in Summer Tree and Lake Charles, all of the larger houses, even the subdivisions that we all live in, those houses that set back, this is a perfect piece of equipment for that. It's not designed for the 3-4 story buildings, we think skyscrapers or whatever, you know, we see in the bigger cities. This is a piece of equipment that is designed for the residential and the apartments type layout that the town of Porter is. So it's one of those effective pieces of tools, especially when we're running a smaller department that is less manpower. I can put a ladder up to a window with one person versus 3 people that have to carry the extension ladder. And even in, you know, Summer Tree, my tallest ladder I carry on my fire engine barely touches the edge of the roof set at an unsafe angle.
Okay.
Where this would be, and you're there.
Jay, what was the truck we purchased in 2018, what would the approximate cost of a new one of those be today?
The current one that we have now, we're looking about 900. And that's even a maybe, depending on what manufacturers are out there and the lead times and,
And for an example, the numbers that were given to Corinne, that 1.1 is based on an average that the industry has right now for that size truck. So 1.1 million is kind of an average, give or take. So that's how we got those numbers to start working with, that Baker Tilly provided us.
yeah, there's engines being delayed, and we'll have a better idea next week. Next week?
Okay.
FDIC? On what trucks are going for nowadays, but my best guesstimate is if we built our last engine today through that company, it would be between 900 and $1 million, just to build that same truck.
I have a question for Corinne.
Can I ask you a question?
Go. Sorry.
Just to educate. So the ladder isn't necessarily to get people out of the window. There's a hose at the end of it. So explain the advantages you have with that hose.
So it has what they call an elevated master stream. So there is a nozzle at the front. So that one is set up with it has a remote control nozzle, so it can be controlled from the bottom of the turntable or on top of the ladder. And that is what we call the elevated master stream. So that gives us that above advantage. So if we do have fire that breaks through a roof, something of that nature, we can get to it versus we're not going to be able to do that with ground ladders and the current trucks that we have. It gives us that ladder on the roof if we do need to do some type of ventilation. Again, a much safer way to work off of a ladder truck than it is to work off of an extension ladder. That elevated water stream also gives us the opportunity of, in an apartment building concept or a large home concept, we have an additional waterway that we can hook an attack line to that can get us closer to the fire than stretching, you know, across the yard and from the fire engine if need be. That's just an additional feature that's already on there. But, all of those give us those elevated, better attack, faster attack, which then helps decrease our property, our property loss if we have to go to that effect. And the biggest thing to me is this is the operating safety for our firemen that are allowing us to safely do these things, the rapid rescue if need be from a window, if there is an entrapment. And then it also gives us that escape point for our firefighters. Like one of our, I got tons of pictures. I always take pictures of when they're using ladder trucks. Portage runs a ladder truck out of one of their stations to, all their fires. It's, and it's really common that everybody's running at least one point out of their station. We have them in Couts and Union and Burns Harbor, all over the county and all over the country. That that truck pulls up, and even if that truck isn't pumping water, the ladder swings and goes to a window, so the guys on the second floor have their escape plan. There's just so many uses, and the way we operate with Chesterton, it just fits in perfectly to that package. Where Chesterton's going to have an engine coming here automatically on any fire. We're pulling those two engines together. We have the capabilities to ladder the building or fight fire out of that ladder truck or that engine. And not that we spend the money to help Chesterton, but then it just brings our teamwork and our abilities as two departments that work together quite often. It brings us so much more, our capabilities so much higher, no matter what town we're working in.
I have a money question for Corinne. So it sounds like the tax exempt municipal lease proposal is off the table because we just don't have the money for that, right? That's just a no-go. So what decision from us helps the next step move forward? It sounds like we need to choose between either the open market bond or the Indiana Bond Bank. And then we also have to discuss terms. Obviously we don't have to make any of those decisions tonight, but can we make one to move us forward? What would be the most important thing to get us going?
Well, I think the number one question is, how much do we need to finance, right? That's the number one question Baker Tilly's gonna want, and then we can tell them, yes, we wanna move forward, and what's our timeline look like, right? So I think we need to decide if this truck is viable or if we're gonna, order something, but.
So we have to submit this bond request with a specific purchase in mind, or we can do it, you'll have to forgive me, right? I bought houses, I've never bought a fire truck before, right? So I'm really comparing this to a mortgage, right? Do I have a flexible rate or a fixed rate mortgage, right? What are my terms? And am I going out with a pre-approval letter already approved from my bank, or do I have to wait until I find the house I want, wait for the paperwork to go through and get approved, right? That's basically what I'm asking. Can we move forward as if we probably want this truck, but if it falls through, we'll shop for a different truck in the same price range? Or do we really have to have our eyes set on a specific truck before we can start the financial process?
I don't think you need your eyes set on a specific truck, you just need to know how much we wanna take out or issue bonds for.
Right, when we did the last one, we took out more because we used some funds,
For park
Yeah.
improvements.
a couple other things in town.
Yeah, okay.
Right, and
Alright.
so on, so that way, if there, so what you're saying is, if we have a number, we're gonna issue a bond for a little bit more, so we have some play in there, and then if Jay don't burn up all the money in the fire truck, we can do some other things in town too
Okay.
with it.
Right.
But we still have to stay within that limit that we're allowed to borrow under, right?
Yeah, we have to specify too when we issue the bonds, like what we're gonna spend the money on too, so.
Sure.
Was the redevelopment commission gonna be contributing an unknown amount to help with this? Is that what I heard before, or we don't know that?
I haven't heard that discussion.
Okay.
I know that
All right.
they are paying some operating expenses for the part-time seasonal firefighters, but.
Okay.
I guess that would be a
So right at this point, the one that's sitting on the lot, if everything comes through, that's the 1,350,000. So if we did it for,
And I don't know how that works for us, getting around Indiana's purchasing laws. If it's over a certain amount, we gotta go out for bids, but I believe a written legal opinion, if it's a substantial savings, we can circle around that. Okay.
because again, to purchase that one that's sitting on your lot for the 1.3 was estimated to cost over $2 million. easily,
I think it was
to buy the exact same
yeah.
thing, just ordering it, a brand new one to be
Right,
built
right.
today, rather than taking the one that's sitting on the parking lot.
Yeah. So, and Corinne, is it your opinion that the Indiana Bond Bank option is better than the open market option? Okay,
Just reading it.
that makes me feel
So then
better
I think
about
that's
that.
a
It means I
decision we
understood
can
what I
agree
read.
on.
Agree on now.
Okay, good.
I mean,
So
even in
really
the
it's just about the
paperwork,
dollar
to me,
amount,
it looked like
you
the
know.
Indiana bond was better.
1.4, 1.5?
So then we just need to come up with, determine a number, and that's also based on what our borrowing capacity is too, right?
I like taking less than our borrowing capacity, by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do have.
Right,
some
we don't wanna
issues.
Right, so
max
I'd like
it
to
out.
keep it, yeah.
If we had some emergency pop up, right, you know,
Yeah.
a big sewer project or whatever, if we use up all our bonding capacity, then we're in a pickle, so.
I think that Baker Tilly document said like 2.2 million was our capacity, and this would
Yeah.
be 1.4, what do we might
Exactly.
decide on?
Yeah.
So it's still leave
It's sufficient,
800 to
yes.
900,000 left.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things, Indiana bond's been decided, right?
Okay, so what are we thinking of terms?
That was what I was
7
gonna
year,
ask. Do
10
we have
year?
to make the term decision tonight?
I will,
In order to, I want Jay to be able to say, hey, we want this truck, don't sell it out from underneath us without moving too fast.
Mhm.
So like, how can we give Jay that?
I will touch base with our financial advisor first thing in the morning and, you know, let them know where we're leaning and get you some more information.
Thank you.
Sound good?
And we'll wait on Jay.
And I think by the
Up
next
Willoughby.
meeting, I can buy time till the next meeting.
Okay.
Which then, hopefully by then, we can maybe have, if that decides what we're gonna do, we can have that general agreement that we intend to move forward, pending we don't find anything wrong with it, and all of our finances come through. Long as everybody agrees upon that, I think if we can say that we potentially be ready to make that loose commitment by Tuesday,
Okay.
that would be great. In 2 months, 2-ish months, I mean, it works really nice if the truck's there, if it is what we need. I'm gonna keep throwing that classifier in there, cause I have a 100% guarantee that it is what we need. It's there, we have the opportunity to do some training on it, and that day that paperwork's signed up, we can start putting it in service. So, I mean, we could looking at 2 to 3 years versus summer.
And I just wanna make sure we need to double check with our attorney about circumventing, if it's a large.
Right,
site,
I mean, that's what I'm
or
saying,
we
all our
need to
ducks
follow
fall in the
policy
roll,
and get
and, yeah.
quotes, right? If it's a
'Cause,
huge
yeah, we have to
savings.
bid that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I just wanna make sure we're following.
Which is
policy.
still, again, a possibility. The premise, I don't think we can go out for bids until the bond comes through, and then that's what we ran through last time. We couldn't bid until the money was in the bank.
Okay.
That's what happened last time.
Okay,
She's a beaut.
Okay.
any other discussion on that?
Oh, she's ready, yeah.
Thank you, Corinne and Jay, for
Right.
Jim, all your effort on that. I know you guys did a lot of work, and,
Or are we really doing this right now?
we'll move on to new business Commonwealth Task Order number 2026-01.
So, kind of said this before, but Commonwealth is basically handling all of our sanitary sewer projects and reviews and whatnot. I have them working on another project, and we have a proposed project on the property that's behind Leroy's, and I sent it over for them to review. They gave me a really nice report in 3 days, and then it dawned on me that, you know, I don't really have a task order for that. So the task order is for them doing any type of reviews such as that. I was absolutely impressed by how fast and thorough their response was, given some of the consultants we've had before. And just very excited by what they did. So I asked them to give me a task order that runs through the end of the year for these occasions when we need them to review something related to sewer. And I had them set a not-to-exceed number that is far in excess of what this project's gonna cost. So I put, and not to exceed 15,000, we put an end date of December 31st per Mr. Willoughby's comment. Otherwise, he was fine with everything. This is probably gonna run $3 to $4 grand for what they've already done and a few things I have to do. But I wanted to have one task order that I don't have to keep coming back and asking for. So it's part of the general contract we already approved. This is just task order for reviewing anything related to sanitary sewer. And again, I'm massively impressed by what they've already done. Very thorough, very quick, and just, I'm very excited about it. So that's what the task order's for.
Try to keep it under the not to exceed amount.
Yeah, they're not anywhere near that, but I just want to keep it running for the year if I have to send anything back there, so.
All right, I look for motion to approve Commonwealth Task Order number 2026-01.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Don.
Have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Any questions for Mike? Any more questions? Any other?
No, thanks.
Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to ordinance number 2026-06. An ordinance of the town of Porter, Indiana, amending and restating Chapter 2, Article 7, Section 2-223 to prohibit the use of public records for commercial purposes. I'm gonna also ask Corinne to elaborate a little bit on this for everybody's information.
Sure, this was my request. I wanted to do this a while ago, but just finally got it off my desk after working with Attorney Willoughby. So this ordinance is to eliminate time-consuming requests that come into our office for public records in accordance with the Indiana Access to Public Records Act. We get companies that ask for large amounts of purchasing data, years, right, of electronic data that they want to turn around and sell, you know, to marketing databases, et cetera, even AI. So this ordinance would, I think, eliminate that. I know at least several other communities in the state of Indiana that have done the same thing, and it's helped them out a lot, because those types of requests take a lot of, you know, pulling reports and redacting information. So that's it.
Oh, it sounds good. You guys got enough work too. You don't need to.
Right, just to help them make profits.
Okay.
In the south.
Well, I would like to say that I love this ordinance. Thank you for putting it together, and I would like to make a motion to set it for second reading on Tuesday, April 28th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to have this on the agenda for our second reading and action on at our next council meeting on, what is it, the
28.
28th? Any questions? All in favor of approval, signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That concludes our new business. Move on to council comments. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to share?
I've got one. Chief Dickey already mentioned it in his report. He had sent us emails previously about the two, we'll just say
Incidents.
incidents. They're not here anymore, but thank you, right? That's all I have to say, like, good job, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you. I'll let them know if they're not already listening.
I hope they're listening.
It's like, I want to try to keep everything discreet, but thank you.
Thank you to the council. This is in regards to the 457 plan. It seems like we're very close to getting up and running here. That was kind of my pet project for a little while, and I appreciate all the support that was given on that. I think that's very beneficial for all our town employees, and I hope everyone that's eligible takes advantage of it.
I do. I hope they do take advantage of it, because it is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Thanks so much.
I was thinking about going to that meeting too.
Yeah.
Anybody else? With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.